This is my 1986 Nissan 200SX, also known as the S12. This is my new daily driver. For those of you that don't really follow my Instagram or my other videos, this is my daily driver. I've had it now for about a couple weeks, and I have fallen in love with it. Now, you guys know my other car, or at least I hope you guys do know, is a Mustang GT, 2006 to be exact, and it is pro-charged. So I needed something to daily, so I picked up this car. I wanted something that was a little bit better than a Honda Civic, okay, something that would still be fun to drive and turn heads. I didn't want to, settle for a 2002, Honda Civic or something like that. And honestly, these pop-up headlights kind of sold me. Right when I saw them stick up, something on my body kind of stuck up too, and I was just deeply in love with this car. I don't know, I got a thing for pop-up headlights. I don't know what it is. Now, this car from afar, people do mistake it for, like, I don't know, some older hatches. They say it gives off like an AE86 vibe or like a DeLorean vibe, and I kind of see it. It just screams 80s everywhere, though. This car just screams 80s, from the wheels to the taillights to the pop-up headlights to the interior. I mean, look at that interior. It's all just brown and tan. Screams 80s. And I love it. I am so in love with it. It even talks to you too. I'm going to show you guys in a second. But it will actually talk to you and let you know when like the doors open or your lights are on or your ignition is on.
Key is in the ignition. Lights are on. Lights are on.
See, it just talks to you, and it's just really cool. Now, under the hood here, nothing super impressive. Old 4-cylinder Nissan motor, stock engine, stock everything on this car, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, you would think that this thing would have been torn apart, and someone would at least have a K&N filter in there. No K&N filter. They do make a turbo model, though, so I wonder if there's a kit to kind of make it fit onto this motor. I don't know if it's the same exact engine. I don't think it is, actually, if I remember correctly. This is a 2-liter, and the turbo model is on the 1.8 liter. But it would be pretty interesting to see if they have a kit to actually make it fit onto this car. So let me go grab the GoPro and we will go ahead and take it for a spin. All right, so we're driving the 200SX just around town right now, and we're doing about 40. Now, I'm just guessing we're doing about 40 because my speedometer doesn't work, of course. I have the AC on. I don't want my nuts to get super sweaty while I'm reviewing. It'd be really uncomfortable. But we are driving around the 200SX and cruising around town. It is a lot of fun. Cruising around town, it is fun. I'm not going to lie. When you come up to a stop, though, and I'm going to be mentioning this a lot of times, depending on what RPM you're at, it will start to feel lunky, and you'll see. Hopefully I can get an example of that, because you'll feel the car start to jolt back and forth. I don't know if that's normal with these cars. With my Mustang, it doesn't do it, but I talked to my friend who has a 240, and he said that it happens in his car too, so maybe it's just an older Nissan thing. Sorry, ignore that. But driving around town, it is a lot of fun. The stick in this car, since this one hasn't been abused, it's really smooth. It's like butter. It's like the Integra one, but the Integra one hasn't been abused really either, so it's just really soft. It's really easy to get into gear. Can you learn stick shift in this car? Sure. If this was your first car, do I think you would like it? Yeah. Also, pop-up headlights. We're going to be driving with pop-up headlights for the rest of the review because I think they look fucking sick. They add to the front of the car. Without them, it still looks okay, but with pop-up headlights, it just makes it so much better. Now, rolling off of first is really easy in this car. It's not going to abuse you as if you were in a car with a light and flywheel and like a stage 3 clutch, like my other car. In this car, you can kind of get away with messing up. You can kind of get away with being lazy. Now, do I recommend being lazy whenever you're driving stick? No, because it's going to bite you in the ass, and eventually you're going to have to pay for it, either by replacing your clutch or flywheel, whatever the hell you fucked up. But overall, just driving the 240 is easy. I mean, from that stop to now, I'm already in 5th. I don't even remember shifting. It's muscle memory at this point. I don't even remember shifting. Now we are about to hop on a highway, and again, my speedometer doesn't work, so all I'm trying to do is keep up with traffic. It is a little 4-cylinder. It doesn't have the most amount of power. I noticed when going up hills, it's a big difference from like driving a naturally aspirated V8 compared to this, or even my old 6-cylinder Mustang. In this thing, you really got to be in a low gear. I'm not saying first gear, but I mean, if you're trying to go up a hill and you want to, keep up a speed with everyone else, you do got to be in a pretty low gear and keep your foot on the gas fairly tight. Exhaust in this car is completely stock, so it sounds like a stock car. Nothing too impressive there. This car, as is, obviously isn't meant to be a super wild car. It's not like, you're picking up a stock GT or stock SS or even a stock 350 for that matter. We'll compare it to imports. It's not like you're picking up a stock 350 where you can have fun with the 350 stock. It's an 86. This thing isn't fun in 2019 stock. You could make this fun. You can make any car fun, of course. We all know that. But this car just as is isn't as fun. Do I still enjoy driving it though? Hell yeah, I do. I love driving this car for 2 reasons. One, the pop-up headlights. It's just, I don't know, there's something about pop-up headlights that just get me hard. I don't know what it is with them. I don't know if it's because I'm a 90s baby and I just remember seeing pop-up headlights back then a lot as a child, and I just love them now. Like C5 Corvettes, I love C5 Corvettes. I almost bought a C5 Corvette. I came close to it. Thank God I didn't, because I got this instead and I'm happy with this. But when I was shopping for a new car, I wanted pop-up headlights, and this thing just happened to fall into my lap, like I said, and I love pop-up headlights. Another reason why I like driving it is because it's a smooth ride for what it is. It's a 30-year-old car. It's a smooth ride. It's reliable for the most part. I haven't had any issues yet. My AC works great, which is surprising. I know. I went to the beach the other day surfing, and my buddy was like, my car or your car? And I was like, oh, we can take my car. We're wearing wetsuits. And he's like, your AC works? And I'm like, fuck yeah, it works. I wouldn't go into a car with a wetsuit without AC. You're crazy. Like, weirdly enough, this car is mechanically sound. Now, there are little issues just with like an older car. If you do want to pick up one of these cars and work on it, expect rusted bolts, rusted everything. There's going to be rusted bolts that are not going to want to come off. You're going to have to use like PB Blaster. You're going to have to use something to get them off. I've already encountered a few of them. Some of them I just said fuck it and just worked around them. And some of it you just kind of really have to put the PB Blaster on there, get a really firm grip so you don't strip the bolt, and just make sure you can break it loose. But you're going to encounter that. Also, when I first picked up this car, it had a slight rattle around 2,000 RPM. I'll try to throw in a clip if I still have it right here. But around 2,000 RPM, it would rattle, and I wouldn't know what the fuck it was. It would be on deceleration a lot. It would rattle because it would hang around that gearing a lot. What I ended up doing was going under the car and listening around for it while my mom was revving it. Probably not the smartest idea. But I went under the car and listened for it, and it was the exhaust heat shield. The little clamp broke off, so it was just shaking, and it was just rattling on it. Easy fix, I just threw a hose clamp over it, over the whole exhaust part right there, and clamped it down. That way it's just sound and it won't rattle. It's already touching, so it can't shake off. That was my way of fixing it, but it was still just like, okay, well, I'm gonna expect more of that stuff to happen down the line. I'm gonna get random noises, random pieces are gonna make random noises. Surprisingly, the interior doesn't make any noises. You hop into a 1995 Integra and everything is fucking shaking, and you hop in this thing and it's sound. There's not a shake in the world. Like, it's quiet, nothing's rattling. We're driving on the highway right now, 3,000 RPM. We're going about what, 60 miles an hour, and it is sound. It's crazy, and that's another reason why I just love this car so much, is that it's actually well built for the most part. And as a daily, it makes sense for me, at least. Again, I wanted a daily that stood out a little bit. I didn't want a basic ass Honda Civic or like a Scion TC. I wanted either something that I can have fun with, or something that stood out a little bit, something that was a little bit wacky or a little bit different. You know, you don't see these around, at least not in SoCal. I think I've seen one other one in total in SoCal since having this car. And it was the first day I got this car. I was driving on the freeway and I saw a 200SX like 2 lanes over, and it was an old guy driving it, and I'm assuming he was the first owner, because that's how I got this car. I bought it off of the original owner, so I'm technically the second owner of a 1986 200SX. And I don't know, it's a fun car. If you want a different daily driver, you don't want the Honda Civic, yeah, you're going to be sacrificing some things like cheap and easy maintenance, where with this thing, if I want to fix this thing up, it's probably going to be a pain in the ass. Luckily, nothing major has broke yet. I think I do have, oh look, a 300ZX, and it actually looks pretty decent. The fitment's okay. I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, quick and easy maintenance. This car, when shit starts to break, I think I'm going to notice that it's going to be a pain in the ass to fix it, depending on what it is. My radiator is already kind of leaking. It's got like a little seepage out of the top. I don't think it's anything bad. I'm keeping an eye on the radiator levels and everything like that, the fluid levels. So I think it should be okay. But I think that's one thing when buying an older car that you guys got to keep in mind, is that parts are not readily available as they are for other cars. Where if you buy a 2004 Honda Civic, a part's going to be available at your AutoZone for that. You're going to be able to walk in and get it. With this bitch, you're not going to be able to probably walk in and get it. I don't know. I haven't encountered it yet, but I'm assuming once something does break, I'm gonna notice it, and I don't know if it's gonna be a lot of fun or not. But this thing is actually pretty fun in corners. So this car isn't fun in a straight line necessarily, but I guarantee if I were to take this into like a little back road or a little canyon, I feel like this car would really shine back there. One other thing that is really important to keep in mind, this kind of goes back with the quick and easy maintenance, is if you want to upgrade this car, upgrading or buying parts for this car just overall isn't going to be easy. You can't go and buy a carbon fiber hood for this car. At least I don't think you can. I'd be really surprised if you could. Again, I haven't done much shopping or much looking for stuff, but I know there's like one set of coilovers made for this car, and you have to even alter it a bit. It's like some confusing shit. You have 4-lug wheels, so wheels aren't going to be super easy to get. You can, though. It sounds like my buddy, he has a 240, my other buddy, and it sounds like you could swap out your axles for the S13 axles or something like that, or it was either the S13 or the 300ZX, or they're very similar, and you can swap them out, and then you'll have 5 lugs. I don't know. I'm not really in a rush to do any of that shit, but you can swap out your axles and get 5 lugs pretty easily, it sounds like. So if you really want to go and upgrade your shit, maybe get some BBS wheels, lower it, it's all doable, but you have very limited options, at least as is. You could probably change some things, but as is, you have some pretty limited options. And I know in the car community, that's a big part of buying a car. Oh, there's the lugging. That's the lugging I'm talking about. It was doing it. I don't know if you guys noticed. You guys can hear it too. At least I can hear it. But you hear this metallic clanking sound, and I don't know what it is. If you guys know what it is and there's a way to fix it, let me know. If it's just my transmission because it's old and the synchros are getting a little bit stretched out, hey, you know, you got to live with it. It's a 30-year-old car. I don't blame it. But let me know what you guys think it is. I would say I'll do a poll in this car, but that'll easily take up a minute of the video, so I don't really think I want to do a poll in this car. It's not a fast car. It's not. It's got some pep to it, but it's not really a weekend warrior. It's kind of just a fun cruiser, and that's what it should be. If you're buying this car expecting something that's going to dust a Honda Civic, you're probably not going to dust a Honda Civic. I just don't think it's going to happen. Weirdly enough, I think a Honda Civic is faster than this. Is it still a fun car to drive? Hell yeah. Because this car isn't about that. It's not about racing. It's not about going fast. It's not about highway poles. It's not about top speed. This car is just, it's like a time machine of what people used to drive. This is Japanese history. Japanese car history right here. Look at it. 80s. It just screams 80s everywhere. This car even talks to you. If I was Doug DeMuro, that would for sure be a quirk of this car, because it talks to you. This car, though, like I said before, it's not about racing. It's not about highway poles. Yeah, you can make it a sleeper. You can engine swap it, throw an SR20, throw a 2JZ, throw a LS into this thing, and it would be fun as hell. But that's not what it's for. If I blow my engine, will I do that? Perhaps, okay. But as is, though, it is just a really fun car to drive. Really easy, really relaxed. AC works. Yeah, speakers suck. Radio kind of sucks. No point in all that. But that's all stuff that's fixable, and you can make it a better cruiser then. As is, though, it's just a really fun car to drive. It's really chill. It's really relaxed. It's stress-free. Where if you're driving a race car or a different type of car, it might be super loud. It might be super uncomfortable. Where if I'm in my Mustang, I have exhaust drone 24/7 because my car is gutted. I have racing seats that just hug you and make you sweat your balls off. I don't ever want to turn on my AC because I already get 9 mpg. Where in this thing, who cares? Who cares? But yeah, overall, if you're looking for a car to just daily drive, if you're looking for a car that stands out, if you're looking for a classic car, a piece of Japanese history, do I recommend the 1986 200SX S12? Yes. This car is fun. I love it. I love everything about this car, even its ship problems. I love it because it's part of it. It's part of owning an older car. You can't own an older car and have it feel like a new car without dumping money into it. It's part of the journey. It's part of the experience. This car's got character. Character isn't always a good thing, but when you have an old classic car like this, that character it gives you is just nice. It reminds you of just simpler times. Imagine a time, now again, this isn't in the 80s, but imagine a time you're in class, you're playing Flappy Bird, you just beat your high score, and then it is Friday. You get released, you go home, play some Modern Warfare 2 or Black Ops 2. Simpler times. And this car just reminds me of simpler times. Times when there wasn't a stress in the world. And that's what I love about this car. It's really fun. And you could corner the fuck out of it. Look at that. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Silly boy, what you doing? I bet it's because you didn't expect an S12 to fly around the corner like that. Hell, I wouldn't have expected it either. I hope that was a pretty in-depth feel of the S12 interior. is great for the 80s. I really actually like these seats a lot. Performance, you're not really looking for performance. Handling is great, but performance isn't so great. Okay, straight line performance isn't the best thing ever. Handling, though, is really impressive. Exterior looks, I love it. I love the old hatch. They do make a non-hatch version. Doesn't look as great personally. I would avoid that one at all costs. Just kidding. But the hatch I do think is far superior in looks on the exterior. But that's just my taste. But overall, though, if I were to rate this car as a little daily driver, I would rate this thing a solid 8 out of 10. I don't know if that scale means anything to you guys, but as a daily driver, it's great. It's decent on gas. It's cheap on gas for the most part too. You can just dump whatever the hell you want into it, and it'll take it like a dirty little hoe it is. But it's comfortable as fuck, which is really great. It's reliable for the most part. I haven't had any hiccups yet, and I've owned it for like 2 weeks now, which is pretty good, and I drive it every day. So I would imagine that something would have broken by now. But no, I mean, it seems pretty fine. I mean, don't push it to the limit, but overall, it's a really good car. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please leave a thumbs up. Next review will probably be a Miata of some sort, so hope you guys are looking forward to that. Oh, there's that clunking that I'm talking about, but hope you guys are looking forward to that. I'll be comparing that a lot to this car and saying which one is better. But anyway, until, oh my god, double-decker wing on a Honda. All right, couldn't have ended on a better note. Anyway, until next video, peace.